Hey guys, what's going on? It is Ash here, coming at you today in Clash Royale, sharing my new favorite deck. Well, it's not super new. I've actually been playing this deck for about a week now, but I have been traveling for the San Francisco game night with Supercell. That was a lot of fun. I got a chance to meet a lot of you guys there. That was really cool. But this deck I actually got from Colton, who I had on my previous Pro Tips episode. You will notice that it includes the Barbarian Hut, which has really recently went from one of the most unpopular cards in the game to one of the most popular defensive anti-meta cards. We're actually starting to see this card banned in some of the tournaments where you can ban cards. I was actually talking to Suz and Shake, who actually runs the CRL, and he mentioned that a lot of people are starting to ban the Barbarian Hut, which blew my mind, but it actually didn't because I love this deck. By the way, huge shout out to our CRL team. Trainer Nick and Jordan have been absolutely beast moding it. Palumbo runs our team. We're currently ranked 6 out of 16 clans, and the clans there are very, very good. So if you're interested in checking out the league, maybe some of the streams, I'll go ahead and leave that information in the description below. But what I figured today is we'll go ahead and play some live matches. We're going to start out with one ladder match just because I want to get that last crown to open up my crown chest. But what I want to do really throughout this episode is focus in on a couple things. One is trying to understand my opponent's deck earlier in the game, because if you listen to my last episode where I had Colton on, that was one of the things I said that I admitted really that I struggled. But what's going on here, by the way? You ever have this where it searches forever and then you have to research? So now we have a match. I'm going to go ahead and put the battle deck, hopefully I remember to do so. I'm going to put the battle deck on the screen for a little bit so you guys know exactly every card in this deck. Now it does have the log in the deck. I'm going to start out with the Ice Golem behind the King Tower here. It does have the log. If you guys don't have the log, I think I would go with arrows instead of the zap, because arrows you can play in a predictive manner, and that's the other thing that we're going to be concentrating on. Oh, so he used lightning against my Barb Hut. I actually really like that. He didn't get much damage off of my Barbarian Hut. You know, it only takes about 40% HP off the Barb Hut in tournament level standards, and it's roughly the same thing on ladder play right now. We seem to be about the same level. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Three Musketeers, as you can see here. Unfortunately, he had Valkyrie, but the reason I did that, I would normally never use them, especially this early right on the river like that, but the reason I did was because he just used his obvious counter in that lightning spell. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So you know, if they use their lightning spell, they have to play 4 more cards to get the lightning back in their rotation, in their hand. So if someone plays a counter to your win condition, which in this case is my Three Musketeers, sometimes it would behoove you to go ahead and play it kind of early at the bridge like that. It's kind of an aggressive play, but you can take those chances, especially to surprise your opponent when they don't know that you have the Three Musketeer or whatever your win condition may happen to be. So he actually did a pretty good job defending there. I'm just going to go ahead and defend with some archers. I should have placed them a little bit higher up there, but it looks like I might lose one. No, she held on. She held on for dear life there. But as I was saying, the two things that I want to focus on in today's video is going to be predicting my opponent's actions and counters before they play them. That way I can start playing my fireball and my log a little bit more aggressively, especially towards the end of the match. For example, if they're countering my hog with a skeleton army, I'm going to try to place that log right before they place that skeleton army. Now this opponent is using lightning pretty aggressively, against my Barbarian Hut, so I'm just going to go ahead and drop down the Three Musketeers, split them in the back here. The reason I'm putting the 2 Musketeers dangerously next to the tower that he's targeting is because he just used his lightning spell, so I know he doesn't have it up right now. He's probably going to play the Valkyrie here, and there's the Valkyrie, so I'm going to play the log to push back the Valkyrie, buying my Musketeers a little bit more time. But this guy was still able to defend pretty well given the circumstances, but he has some damage done to my right tower. But now that I have kind of his rotation in my head, I feel actually pretty good about this match. I'm going to keep putting this Barbarian Hut in the right lane. Now the Barbarian Hut, as you can see, it's a great lightning bait. I'm really going to try to discuss all the amazing parts of this deck in today's episode. I'm going to use my log again to try to push back that Valkyrie there, keep her away from my Musketeers. But the Barbarian Hut specifically has so many uses. I'm going to drop down my hog right here and preemptive fireball, and this should be GG. GG right here. Of course, if I waited just a second longer on that fireball, I could have taken down those archers, but it turns out I didn't need it. So it was all good there. Picked up a nice ladder win. To start out today's video, I'm going to go ahead and hop into a grand challenge that I already have started. I showed you guys my battle log earlier. I actually lost my second match in this grand challenge, and that's going to lead to the question of the day for you guys. So the question that I want to hear from you guys, and no BSing here, no lying, guys. I want to know honestly, how many wins do you average per grand challenge or per classic challenge if you don't play grand challenges? So how many wins do you average, including the 3 losses? So not like a winning streak, but just how many wins total before the challenge is over. So my answer right now is 8. I average 8, and it feels like more because I've had plenty of 9, 10s, 11s, and 12s, but I gotta admit, I've also had my fair share of 4, 5, 6s, and 7s. So my average, I've actually been keeping track throughout the last week or so. Now, these are grand challenges, so they're a little bit more tricky than classic challenges, where I think it'd be closer to maybe 10 or 11. Looks like I'm not going to be able to get this log off on time here, so there's going to be a shot down on my barbarians. That's actually totally fine there. I'm going to put down this ice golem here to absorb another blow from that Sparky. I actually don't like Sparky right now in the current meta. I find him very easy to counter. I have the log in this deck, which is great against Sparky. I also have, you know, Fireball that I can use against Sparky at the tower if I have the spare elixir. Obviously, it's not ideal, but I have Mega Minion. There's just a lot of answers to Sparky right now in the game, and look at all the damage I got with those Musketeers against that tower. That was pretty valuable there, considering, yeah, you know, 3 Musketeers. He played the giant Sparky, but the Barbarian Hut. Let's talk about the Barbarian Hut. By the way, question of the day, how many challenges do you usually win? And make sure you include if they're Grand Challenge or Classic Challenge. So, the Barbarian Hut. So the Barbarian Hut obviously isn't the most ideal counter to Hog Riders, but it's surprisingly very good because it does spawn immediately those 2 Barbarians, so the Hog Rider can only get 2 hits in, sometimes 1 depending on what else you already have on your side of the arena, and it's great against any beatdown deck. That's really why we're seeing the resurgence of the Barbarian Hut. I hope I play against the Lava Hound deck today, because you're going to see, usually I actually suck really bad at commentating while I'm playing here, but this is actually pretty good. I mean, I'm doing pretty well here considering, you know, the deck it kind of runs itself, and that's why I love this deck, because it's really easy to kind of get the hang of. Now, of course, it does take repetition to master, but I'm going to go ahead and Fireball right here. I already have the tower lead, and I don't like furnaces or tombstones staying alive too long against me, especially when they're playing one of these beatdown decks. So a beatdown deck is where these decks really shine. What I'm going to try to do here, by the way, guys, I'm going to try to just drop off a bunch of units in the left here, and I kind of want to play my 3 Musketeer on the other side of the map, but it looks like I'm probably not going to be able to do that. He has a lot coming at me here. Inferno Dragon, Sparky, and an Ice Wizard, along with the giant tanking. That's not beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and use my Fireball and my Ice Golem here and try to just, you know, stall things out, but I think I should be totally fine at this point. But the beautiful thing about the Barbarian Huts too, as I kill this giant here to call it a match, say that could have been a little bit of trouble there, but I think I still would have been able to defend just fine. I think that second Barbarian Hut was a really bad play on my part. I shouldn't have played it up near the river. I should have just lured that giant out and played it in the right lane there, but I kind of want to see that deck that this guy was using here. Interesting. Interesting deck here. His player profile, not too impressive either. You know, with 3 legendaries in your deck, sometimes you figure the player might be, you know, might be really, really good in terms of the cards they have. Certainly not saying he's a bad player, but you guys catch my drift there. So let's go ahead and go into this match here. So I'm going to start with I'm going to split the archers here. Now, I don't mind playing either the archers or the Ice Golem, but I'll never play the Barbarian Hut or the 3 Musketeers as my very first card, and very rarely will I play the Hog Rider. Hog Rider's just too easy to counter right now. I am going to go pretty aggressively here, and the reason I'm going to do this is, now this is a lot of elixir here, but bear with me. He played the Elixir Collector, and the Elixir Collector, obviously much more expensive now. He just did not have enough elixir to counter my Ice Golem and my Hog Rider, and I already knew that had the Archer coming in tow too, so I knew that was going to be very difficult to counter. And once I dropped that Fireball on the minions, I knew things were actually going to be really good there. Now, I have obviously the Barbarian Hut up in my cycle, and can I talk about the Barbarian Hut? I feel like I just keep getting on tangents. So the Barbarian Hut, which, interesting. So the Barbarian Hut, the reason I love it against beatdown decks is because it's spawning barbarians, not skeletons, barbarians. Because usually when someone's going against a tombstone, for example, they're going to be ready with some minions or a mega minion, kind of in tow to protect against whatever the opponent throws at them, the first thing they throw at them. And look at this. This is going to be prime fireball material on the left here. So I'm going to sneak in my Hog Rider on the left, and I think that just using barbarians and archers here and there, I mean, we're only halfway through this match, I think I can take down that right tower all by myself there without needing the fireball, and I do, right away with those barbarians. Doesn't even bother countering them. I'm kind of caught right now with my pants down a little bit in the left, so I might have gotten a little bit aggressive there with the fireball. I'm going to go ahead and try to spam this ice golem here to distract this prince, and I'm just barely not going to get him down there in time. Fortunately, the mega minion does a little bit of work against that prince there, so that wasn't beautiful on my part. Probably got a little bit too ahead of myself, a little bit too aggressive. I had the Barbarian Hut. There was really not a huge need to play the fireball before the Barbarian Hut, but that might have all started to go downhill when I played the Hog Rider. So the Barbarian Hut is so ideal against these tanks, guys. I mean, these Barbarians do a lot of damage, and the Barbarian Hut has such a large amount of HP. It's beautiful. It can withstand, 5 or 6 blows from a giant before it goes down, depending on the levels. But at tournament standards, it's absolutely an amazing defensive unit, and it's an amazing offensive unit, and it works great. The synergy that those Barbarians have, you saw that it took down the left tower, the right tower. I'm going to take down this left tower using some 3 Musk right here. So what I'm trying to do with this deck is, during the first 2 minutes, I rarely play the 3 Musketeers, unless the situation just begs for it. For example, the previous match when the guy kept playing Lightning against me, I just kept playing the 3 Musketeers at the river because I knew he didn't have his counter. He had no other direct damage spells in his deck. So if they don't do stuff like that, if they don't leave me sitting at 8 elixir when they just use their Lightning, I'm probably going to wait on my 3 Musketeers till the end of the match, and I'm just going to keep playing Barbarian Huts, defending really well, because if I can take down a tower using the Hog Rider at Barbarian Hut on defense along with Archer's Mega Minion, and then I can go ahead and parlay that into a counter push using the Hog Rider, well, if I can get 1 tower down with this deck, if we have a 1 tower lead, it's really difficult for the opponent to counter a 3 Musketeer on the other side of the map, on their side of the map. You guys know that sweet spot. It's really difficult to counter them, especially if they don't know it's coming. So that's what I'm going to try to do in this match if I can pull off this win here. So I'm going to fireball here, maybe ill-advised, but I don't like those tombstones. I told you guys that. So I have the, I think he probably has the elixir advantage right now, so I'm going to let this miner just take down the rest of my hut here. I know the miner won't get a hit on my tower because both of my towers are going to be targeting him, and the Barbarian Hut has a deceptively high HP amount. Did I mention that, guys? Did I mention that it has a lot of hit points? So 3 Musketeers, I'm actually going to break the rule that I just talked about. Oh, look at that. Wow. Let's drop a wow. I wanted to play against a Lava Hound, and it looks like I've got my wish. So this is going to be great. I'm going to put a Hog Rider in the right here. I still have plenty of elixir, and I'm going to force him to defend on the right, and then I'm still going to be able to defend against this Hound in the left. He's forced to use his Lightning there against my Musketeers and my Hog Rider. I'm still able to do a little bit of damage, and look at this defense here. I'm going to go ahead and drop an Ice Golem. What he's going to do is tank for my archers, and oh boy, it looks like the opponent has given up at this point. That's a sad face, because I don't like when people give up only halfway through the match. That's no bueno. But I'm just going to take this left tower here and then just save up. I'll probably drop 1 Barb Hut and just get a nice push and take down the King Tower. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but sometimes opponents say they give up, or they say, like, well done, and they arrow your King Tower like this guy just did, and then they start trying randomly. So I'm not going to go too aggressive. That could be like a psychological play on his part. So I'm going to drop my 3 Musketeers here and see what he does against them. Looks like I'm safe. Look, oh no, I spoke too soon. He lightnings my 3 Musketeers. Must have just felt like he didn't want to give me this super easy 3 crown, but I am going to go ahead and just be able to fireball and log that King Tower. Just make sure I play a little bit of defense, make sure everything's straight and good to go before they end the coup de grace, the closing, the final blow, the fatality on this King Tower. And there it is, 3 crowns. So starting out this video with style, what I'm going to do probably basically is just play till I lose, because I didn't intend to make this a super long video. I just wanted to introduce you guys to the deck, but if it's working, if I'm rolling, I'm going to go ahead and stick with it. So Barbarian Hut is just awesome. I mean, it's awesome against Golem, it's awesome against Giant, and it seems like everybody's playing a Golem or a Giant or whatnot. So I'm going against Juicy J here. Let's make sure we pick up this W and keep things going right now. So I'm going to go ahead again, split archers behind my King Tower here, and I don't like to wait till they make the first move unless I have like the most awful starting hand ever, and this starting hand isn't too bad. So now we'll play the Barbarian Hut. We're going to wait to see what they do, and I like to play the Barbarian Hut as my second card because you can see the Barbarians are going to tank for my archers. So it's a little mini push, but it's still kind of effective. I thought about fireballing there, but I'm going to play things a little bit more conservatively out the gate here. It looks like one hit from my... Oh, that was bad. I probably should have just fireball earlier there, take care of that Musketeer. Instead, she's getting all kind of damage on my Barbarians and my poor Ice Golem here. And he's playing the Bowler, so let me tell you about the Bowler. The Bowler is probably one of the best defensive counters to this deck because it does such a good job against my Barbarians, keeping them away from their tank, and it also does a good job against Three Musketeers as well. So I'm forced to defend over here with the Three Musketeers. He's going to go ahead and Lightning, and it looks like he's going to get a few hits on my tower here. This is not good, and of course my one Musketeer kind of walks off there. I probably should have played the Three Musketeers on the right side of the tower instead. I don't know why I played them in the center as a split because it didn't really help out there, and he got an extra few hundred damage because I had that one Musketeer off to the left there. So that was a poor play by yours truly. So Barbarian Hut again. Let's reload here, and you know, it's tempting to just play stupidly aggressive here with the Hog Rider, but that's not smart because it's stupidly aggressive. So what we're gonna do instead is just reload again here. I don't like that I'm not touching his towers, and he already has, you know, 2 minutes in almost here, he already has a decent amount of damage done to my right tower. So I'm playing the Mega Minion knowing that he's probably gonna play something after that Bowler. I'm gonna go ahead and Fireball here. Just don't want to have to deal with another Bowler Musketeer push here. I'll play archers on the river, take care of that Musketeer, and then what I want to do here is get a freaking hog to that tower, but it looks like he's going to be able to defend again, and I'm caught without the fireball there. I could have used the fireball if I had it up against the tombstone and take out that Mega Minion as well, but instead I'm kind of struggling here, and I make the same mistake twice. That's what you call a bad move, Ash. You know, and he got all three of my Musketeers there. Granted, he didn't get any damage done to my tower, but still, it's just frustrating here. So I'm going to go ahead and just reload again. I just keep misplaying all these counters here. So I'm going to use a Fireball here. The reason I'm going to do so, and probably wasted one because he played the Mega Minion right afterwards, but the reason I did that was because we're kind of trading blows at this point. We're stuck in a counter cycle. He comes at me with a Bowler, Giant, Mega Minion. I counter with the Three Musketeers here, and then he always does a few more 100 HP damage to my tower than I do to his. Obviously, the number one thing about this deck is what you just saw there. It has so much lightning bait, so I can play the Three Musketeers on defense like I've been doing. The reason I can do that is obviously I had the Ice Golem, I had the Barbarians, and I had the Barbarian Hut, all to bait the lightning away from my Musketeers. Now, this could be it, guys. This is it, I think. Oh, no, that Zap Spell. That Zap Spell, guys. Jeez, I thought I had him there. I thought I had him for sure, but that Zap Spell did a good job of taking out my minions or stalling them just enough to make sure that they were down HP so the tower could take them out in just the nick of time. All I needed was one or two more shots from each of them, and they were both left standing to take down that tower. So now it's going to be just a matter of me getting another log and cycling to my Fireball. So I like this right now. I like this, but he has Lightning. Oh, and he just logged. This is not good. I need my Fireball. I'm going to have to Hog Rider here. Oh, jeez, I lost it there. I lost it. I thought I had him there with the Musketeers, but hey, I said I was going to play till I lost, and there I go. I lost, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the deck again. And what I want to do is just go over all the cards one more time and talk about how I use them in the deck and why I love it so much. So Barbarian Hut is great against tanks. It's great offense as well. It has a ton of HP, and it's great a lightning bait. Or absorption, or a lightning rod is probably the best word to use, or the best phrase to use. The Ice Golem is also a great lightning rod because it can take attention away from the Musketeers because it has more HP. I have the Mega Minion, which is great on defense. Three Musketeers is obviously my win condition, especially when I take down one of their towers. I can really rest assured that the Three Musketeers will come through very strongly on the opponent's side of the map. I have Fireball, I have Log, which I use hopefully towards the end of the game preemptively. So I use them before the counter is even on the board to try to really capitalize on those Hog pushes. Hog, obviously my other proxy card, my other win condition, and Archers, along with the Mega Minion, as I mentioned, are my defensive plays. They can also kind of make little mini pushes behind the Ice Golem. So those are all the cards in the deck, guys. And before I let you guys go today, I want to ask you guys a favor. Now, I never really do this, never really ask you guys for anything because you guys already give me so much, but I do have a favor today. And some of you might know that Galadon's mom passed away this morning. And you guys might know that my mom passed away a few years ago as well. And it's something that, you know, I even though I can almost kind of relate to what he's going through, it's just something that is one of the most difficult things. And I know how close he is to his amazing mom, and she is such a big part of his Clash family. So what I want you guys to do is go show him some love on Twitter. Just tell him how much he means to all of us in the Clash community. He's been doing this a long, long time, and he's such a staple in the community. And you know what? It takes a lot of character to do what he's done for us, for everybody in the game, with always taking the high road anytime any conflict comes about, and always looking for the positive in things. He really prides himself on that, and he does a lot for this community, whether you guys know it or not. So go ahead and follow him on Twitter. I'll go ahead and include, if you don't know, he's verified, so it should be pretty easy to find. #jealous. But guys, go find him on Twitter. Just tell him you love him. Tell him you're thinking about him. It would mean a lot to me, and I know it would mean a lot to him. So guys, thank you so much. And as always, take care, guys.